Good evening, everyone. If you're just joining us, this is Aniukwu Space, and we are discussing the copyright and the creative industry, how it affects creative industry. And we are looking at it. We have Christian, who is a professional, is a lawyer, is a copyright professional. So he's giving us insight on how it works and what needs to be done as an artist or creative. If you are a creative, if you want to protect your property, your intellectual property, what you need to do, and things that can actually be protected. He made us understand not every work can be protected. And when you put out work and it is not properly documented, that copyright may not protect, your interest. That you need to put your work documented. You need to put your work together, then document it and record it so that you will have evidence to prove that it rightly belongs to you. And he made mention about compilation, DJ compilation, and and how it works in Nigeria. And he also delved into some other aspects. He talked about how you need to have, irrespective of quality of your content, right? That irrespective of quality of your content, that's provided it belongs to you, provided that it's well documented, that it's rightly yours. And he has a lot of things that he also intends to explain to us, and we have those other questions to ask. And
So, what is copyright? What is the essence of copyright, and why is the law interested in granting? Now, under the law, we have what the Copyright Act, and the law has said that for you to be entitled to copyright protection for any work you produce, that your work must be original. Now, this originality presupposes an independent creation and not necessarily something that is new, something that has not been seen or heard anywhere. No. It means that you must have put in sufficient effort into creating something to make it original. And when you have created that something, that work, you have to fix it in a definite medium. So this is where the law will now come in to protect that work as a copyright work. When we talk about fixation, because this is one aspect where some people have issues. What is fixation? The law says that a work is required to be fixed in a definite medium, in any definite medium of expression, whether known now or whether it will be developed later. And the essence of, there are so many reasons why this is required. Fixation is important, especially for evidence purposes, for you to prove that you have created this work, for you to prove when you created the work, especially in cases where issues of infringement comes up. It is this fixation in this medium, any medium, whether by writing it down, whether by recording it in a tape or over the internet or anywhere. It is this medium, this fixation that you've done that will help you to prove that you are indeed the one that created the work. You created it, and any other thing you need for the purposes of evidence. Fixation also clarifies questions or issues of authorship and ownership, and it also provides tangibility for copyright work, because if you have an idea in your head without fixing it in any definite medium, it is not, nobody will read about it. You've not produced it in a tangible form that somebody can be able to look at it and say, wow, this is a nice work, or this is a nice novel or song or whatever. So that's actually the essence of fixation. So I think I will also mention later that copyright law does not protect ideas. It protects your expression of the idea. Still talking on the issue of fixation, so I was giving an example of stand-up comedians that perform on stage or in events and the rest of that, and without fixing that performance in a definite medium, that person cannot be said to have fulfilled the requirements of copyright protection, and that work may not be eligible for copyright protection. And in fact, if someone else records that performance, it is deemed that the person who now did the recording is the one that will have the copyright over the recording that he has done, and not the person talking on stage.
So copyright centers on just recording your work. That's what it centers on. If you have something, if you conceive something, if you conceive an idea, if you have an idea only, it's not guaranteed, right? But if you perform it, and if you perform it, without even having it, recorded before performing, it is still not your exclusive idea, your exclusive property until it is properly was documented. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, let me to put it in another form. You have an idea, and then you put it down in a form that can be seen later. Either writing it down, either recording it, either performing it and record the performance, like in any form that it can be seen later and not a one-off thing. So those are just the two requirements: originality and fixation.
All right, thank you. Go ahead with your point. I needed to get that clarification.
All right. So under the Copyright Act, we have 6 categories of work that can be protected. They are eligible for protection, and they are the literary works, like all the novels and the articles, the stories that we read, the musical works, the songs, the artistic works, the drawings, and the rest. Cinematography, movies. You have the sound recordings, that's the beating and the rest used for songs, and then the broadcast. We also have other rights, but we won't go into all those ones, like under the ones we call the neighboring rights, performance rights for those that act films and perform in music and the rest of them. So for each of these type of works, these 6 categories that I've mentioned, they are all defined under the act, and each one has like its requirements or other things, broad category, other categories of work that can come under each one, but we won't spend time in all those things. And then when you look at the definition of all these works under the act, under the law, you find out that there is something common in the definition. It will tell you a musical work is blah blah blah, irrespective of musical quality. An artistic work is blah blah blah, irrespective of artistic quality. So it keeps on repeating that irrespective of that work's quality. So what it means that copyright is not interested in how good or how bad your work is for you to get protection. So for example, someone can perform a song, and the way we say it, this song is rubbish. No matter how rubbish the song is, it is still eligible for copyright protection. No matter how dry the comedy or the movie is, it is still eligible for copyright protection. So quality of the work is not necessary. And then again, you can have a copyright in a work, in your song or something, and another person does a compilation of several works, including your own, and that person will still get a copyright. A perfect example is this compilation. Okay, let me use even DJs. DJs, they are perfect examples. They collect a lot of songs and put it together with a particular soundtrack and the rest of them. The DJ will have his own copyright in the compilation, while the other people will have copyright in their various works. Obviously, it's expected that the DJ will have get their consent to use their work. Another example is this cultural praise by KC. You see that it's a compilation of different songs, and of course, earlier in the year, one of the copyright owners of one of the songs sued him for copyright infringement. He didn't get his consent, and he used the song in the compilation. So KC has a copyright in the compilation that he has performed, but the other individuals that have each of the songs also have copyright in their various works. So your work is not ineligible for copyright protection, notwithstanding the fact that you infringed another person's right.
And Christian, if you can hear me, I would like to know exactly what is this intellectual property and why is it important in the music industry?
Okay, so just to go straight to that, it's important because that's what guarantees you the revenue from what you have done. Under copyright, we have a theory that we call the fairness theory. That is the sweat of a man's brow. If you have spent time, your energy, whether intellectual or physical energy, to do something, it is expected morally and legally that you have to get something in return. You can't spend your time writing a book and years and writing and researching and publishing a book, and you end up not getting anything in return. So that's why there is copyright, to make sure that when you develop a work, whether song, drama, or anything, the law will help you to recoup your expense and even make profits from
Yes.
what you have developed.
Wow. Okay, so now
And I heard
yeah,
that.
we hear
Yeah.
intellectual properties. We hear a lot of things like patents. We have like trademarks, copyright. What is these things? What are these jargons? What do they mean?
Yeah, for most of them, all of them are all relevant to creatives, but they are all distinct. They protect different aspects of intellectual work. So copyrights protect, like I mentioned earlier, 6 categories of work:
Yeah.
literary works, sound recording, broadcast, and the rest of them. That's for copyright. Trademarks protect names, logo, slogan, images, whatever you are known for.
Okay.
You understand? Source of origin. Once you mention that name, anybody that hears the name or sees the name or the logo will know, oh, this is it. If I hear Aniukwu as a trademark, I know who the reference is being made to. You right? So for creatives, aside the work you create, which are protected by copyright, there are other aspects of things that can be protected by trademark. Like the title of your album
Mm.
cannot be protected by
Okay.
copyright, but you can trademark it. Even the name of the artist, example for especially artists that use fancy made up
Mm.
names, right? Like it's Daniel, both the keys, Daniel, the KZZ and the SS, all of them are
Yeah.
trademarks. Ola filed her name recently as a trademark, and like we have so many artists
It,
that have registered their names as
okay. Now,
trademarks. That
in
person,
registering these designs, in having this trademark and copyright, does it have limitation? Does it have territory that it only operates? Or is it worldwide? For example, whiskey has a trademark or the catchphrase "Starboy," but it was used by the Weekend. And can we say whiskey should go and reclaim that Starboy, or does that trademark only exist within Africa or Nigeria? Does it also cross to America? So, can you balance us on that?
intellectual property rights are your location, your territory. So if you file a trademark in Nigeria, you only have the right to enforce it in Nigeria. Not be surprised that another person is doing it elsewhere. So that's why it's always advised to have the intention of putting into foreign markets and the rest of them, and also register in those places. Yeah, there are what we call under the law, there are what we call the common law rights. Yeah, but without delving deep into that, just know that your intellectual property rights is protected in the territory where you registered it. So Kiss Daniel can register, let's say Kiss Daniel in Nigeria, and another person can register Kiss Daniel in South Africa or in the US. It's allowed. Same with copyright. But for example, when it comes to copyright, there are extensions. Like the law tries to protect your work, not just in your location, but elsewhere, subject to certain treaties and laws and agreements, right?
Mm.
So that is why you have a musician in Nigeria being able to get royalties for work used abroad. That's not an easy thing to do, but it's possible. So let's say you have a song in Nigeria and you are registered with a collect. I will explain collecting societies later because this is a very important
Okay.
society for creatives. So, but not to buttress my point, let's say you have a work in music in Nigeria, your collecting society in Nigeria is helping you to gather royalties from uh, um, transportation companies, hotels, and people that are using that song. They can as well help you get royalties from other users abroad. If, let's say, for example,
Mm.
MCSN, the Collecting Society of Nigeria, if they have a bilateral agreement with a collecting society in the US, for example, let's say BMI, and they have this agreement so that the BMI guys in US will collect royalties for Nigerian artists over there, and the Nigerian collecting society in Nigeria will be able to also get royalties for their own members, exchange fees, right? So these are a few examples where you can say you can enforce your rights internationally. But generally speaking, IP rights, intellectual property rights, are limited by the territory where the protection is being granted. So maybe I could talk on collecting societies. So under the law, under Copyright Act, each genre of work, each category of copyright work is expected, or it's allowed for a collecting society, for there to be a collecting society for each work. For musical work, we have MCSM. We used to have to some, but there are so many litigation issues around that. For, let's say, cinematography, of the visual work, you have the AVRS and the rest of them. So what they do, what their work is they are a society, because you as an artist, it will be nearly impossible for you to go around the entire Nigeria to be, following up on people that are using your work and be collecting royalties from them. It's not possible. Based in Lagos, or you're based in Enugu, and somebody is using your song in Kaduna, you cannot even go there to collect royalties. So that's why there are these, we have these collecting societies. So their work is, as an organization, you come and register with them. Most of the artists register with them. They have a list of members and a bundle of works. They have the list of all your songs and the rest. Now, of course, they have the capacity at least for you. So if, let's say, a hotel in Enugu is always playing your song, they have the right to go to that hotel and demand for royalty on your behalf. As a member, you are giving them the license over your work, demand for you, to grant licenses for other people and the rest of them. So they will collect royalties from the hotel. They will collect royalties from transportation company. They will collect from everybody using your work. And the way they feel this is always dependent on the nature of the business. Like, let's say, if the business is the kind of business that needs that music, for example, as an integral part of their business, like to clubs, their royalties will be more than people that don't ordinarily need it. Right? So if they are ₦1 per song from a club, then it's expected that for a hotel that is just playing the song in their lounge, they will be collecting maybe like ₦100 per song or something like that. So for every individual that wants to use your work, it's expected that the person will get your consent or a license from you to use it. Either you're giving it the person free to use, or the person is paying. Either way, your consent.
Christian, you were talking about collection societies, and I would like us to talk about this very precisely, because we have, it's very important in every industry to have an active collection society. And you mentioned COSON. How effective and how active is this organization in Nigeria? How effective are they? The collection societies, are they functioning, and what is the problem? Is it that the artists or the creatives are not interested in registering with them, or that they are not doing what they're supposed to do? What is actually the problem?
Personally, I would say that they are functioning. Artists are afraid to register with them. Some artists, that because they will tell you to give them a license to issue other people licenses and collect royalties for you and the rest of them. Some feel they are trying to sell their rights.
Now, when we know that radio stations play music artist songs, hotels, DJs all over the country, they play artist songs. Who collects royalty from these people? Because obviously they don't pay anyone to play artist song. So who actually collects this royalty from? Are we saying that big artists like Davido or Flavor or Fino are not registered with COSON? And if they are registered, who collects their royalty from radio stations across Nigeria that play their song?
Exactly. If you are registered with a collecting society, they will do that on your behalf. If you are not, you collect it yourself. Nothing stops you from demanding royalties from people playing your songs, right?
Yeah.
Personally, because you are the owner. But if for you to make things easy for you, you can register with a collecting society and they will do it on your behalf.
Okay.
And they are ready to use it. Recently, I read in where they picketed what's the name of this hotel, one of the big hotels in Lagos, because they sent them demand letter and they are refusing to pay, and they blocked the entrance gate.
Wow.
You know, they also have to take you to court. Let's say they are demanding royalties from a TV station or a radio station, and you're not paying. The collecting society can sue you on behalf of the artist. That is one of the powers you give to them at the point of
Okay.
registration.
Okay. What about IP framework? We spoke about trademark and in having an IP framework. In what do we need to know as an artist? What, if, for example, when if you're an artist, you can actually trademark maybe your brand, music brand, or even your catchphrase or something that is very something that's very unique to you. You can actually trademark it. And how are we going to do? Are there any steps that we need to know that we need to take in order to get this thing done? Trademarking maybe your logo or your
Yeah.
catchphrase or something that is very unique to you. Can we get more insight on that?
Yeah. Okay. So first, when you've identified the name or the logo you want to trademark, you have to register it at the trademarks registry. If you don't register it, you also have a right in common law, but that's usually difficult to enforce. It's easier for you to enforce a registered right than an unregistered one. So when you want to register your rights, you have the name of the logo that you want to register. You take that name. You can do it yourself at the registry. You can do it through an accredited agent and any IP lawyer, right?
Mm.
You file, you make documents, they accept it on, they examine it, they find it proper. But there are circumstances where your name cannot be registered. It's not compulsory that once you find it registered, you file, discover that that name you want to register is already similar to someone else's name in that same net class of business. They won't register it, right? And if you file and they say, oh, this name that you want to register is scandalous, is this, how can you come to register bastard as a name? They can refuse. There are reasons why your application can be refused. But assuming it is accepted, it will be accepted. You will be given a document, acceptance letter. It will be published in a journal. Anybody feels like you want to register is infringing on his own name, the person can oppose your registration. If not, you'll be given a certificate, and once you have your certificate, you have the sole and exclusive right to that
Mm.
name for the classes of services you registered it for.
Okay. So now,
Against
this
anybody
whole
that is using.
the copyrights and intellectual property issue is quite a very technical issue, and it has a lot of interpretation that can actually be done by mostly entertainment lawyer. But there's a problem that actually quite prevalent in the industry, and I've heard it from a couple of persons that there is dearth of entertainment lawyers. Why is it so? Why do we have many sectors, lawyers in many sectors, but entertainment? Why do we have very few of them in entertainment? And what can be done about this?
Well, I think there are not so many, but in this Lagos, I think you have quite a number, and I also think that one of the reasons why people shy away from it, probably because I don't know whether to say that the money is not there, or because one difficulty we as lawyers do have with some artists, especially young artists, is that at the initial stages of their career, they find it difficult to engage lawyers. They go ahead and sign contracts because they are eager to blow, they are eager to move into the market, this and that. They sign contracts without the help of there are lawyers that are ready to help you review the contracts and probably, you know, negotiate some terms. You sign off, you can sign contracts where they are written for you that you've assigned all your rights, all your copyright and everything, your trademark, everything. You assign it to the record label. Some of them go ahead to sign off all those things. They are not at that point. They are not ready to listen to lawyers. All they are interested in is, I want to blow first. Let me make the money. Even if you're talking about I was listening to an interview by one artist that used to be signed on to what Davido's label then. Say that he's not even interested in infringement. In fact, that it's good that people are even mass producing their tapes and the rest of them because it makes them sell fast.
Why do you think this is a very this is actually a very prevalent opinion among artists in Nigeria? You remember in 2009, I should say, in 2009, the piracy became very prevalent online. We had a lot of online blogs that pirated a lot of the music at the time. And I do not think at the time, I remember, when they were interviewed, some of the artists said that they don't really care, provided their fans, are sourcing for these songs through the, pirated means, that is pirated means online. And it is still happening till date. For example, Ice Prince and CK were supposed to drop the song on Friday, that is midnight, yesterday midnight. And that song was released on Wednesday evening, on Thursday evening, I'm sorry. It was released earlier before. So it has been happening. A lot of big artists, they will announce their album maybe tomorrow, or usually on Friday, that is Thursday night. They usually announce their album. But by the time you go online and search for that song, it's already everywhere. Why is it that our artists have not taken it upon themselves? They know these people, they know the people that own these platforms. Why do you think they don't really go after them? Is it part of the marketing or for them, or do they really understand the implication of uploading their song in this pirated platform?
Exactly. That's like the perfect questions for the artists to even answer, because we as lawyers, we keep repeating the same. That's why we engage in a lot of webinars, our creation of awareness. We keep telling them, at this initial stage, all you are looking at, you just want to make it. You want to blow, you want to be known. And you're not looking at the larger picture. If you lose everything at this inception, what do you think you will now get? I've listened to stories of even the big artists narrating how their initial years, how bad and terrible it was. They will regret, as in they are regretting their actions when they started. But at that point, when they are starting, or when they started, if you're telling the person this right, do this right,
I think, yes, I think the noise on the Alaba piracy is not some. It's not. Is the level of noise on the Alaba piracy is not the same. Thing with the kind of noise that we expect to hear from the artists on these online pirates. The noise we got on Alaba pirates, was much more bigger, more impactful. In fact, there were protests. There were a lot of litigations at the time. But the online piracy, why is there no strong voice or strong action on the online? Is it helping them, or is it promoting them more? What exactly is the problem?
I don't know. So I lost at a point. I didn't get. I heard the Alaba side, but I didn't.
Okay, let me. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes.
So I was saying that the Alaba pirates get the larger hammer. They always, they're always in the news at the time. I think in early 2000, they used to accuse them of pirating music, pirating the movies, pirating a lot of things. They used to accuse them of all of that. And fast forward when the online platform, surfaced, we didn't get the same energy or the same kind of aggression that was meted at Alaba people on the online pirates. What exactly is what are the reasons behind this?
The reason is very simple. It's difficult fighting piracy online, not just for music and the rest, everything, even trademark infringement and the rest. It's easier for one to go to Alaba with police and the Nigerian Copyright Commission and raid the shops and seize the cassettes and bundle them to the office or burn them. But it's not that easy when it comes to online piracy, because one, you have to, even if you want to take down a link or something, you have to follow procedure. You have to go as much as going through, if it's on YouTube, going through submission of petitions and the rest of them to take down the link, or if it is going through Google and the rest of them. So it's not that easy, and it's also easy to replicate infringement on the online space. For example, if you're searching for a song, you click on it, you will see not less than 5, 10 links where you can get it from. How many will you block? And as you're even blocking one or two, they are reproducing, they're opening other ones. So it's, the digital environment came with its good sides and with its bad sides. It came with its good side with it creates extra streams of income from artists. It makes them more popular. It takes their work far beyond even where they can expect. But the bad side of it is that it's also increased the infringement aspect of the work of the whole thing.
I think there is a group in America that actually fights this same thing. You know, they fight. I think it is a defense contract management agency. Once you post certain artists, you know, if you see the most American or foreign artists, if you ever have that, you know, if you ever pirate it online, they are going to send you a letter immediately that will demand that you pull it down from there immediately. It works like a robot. So they're able to detect that you have it in your platform, and they're able to ask you to bring it down. So why don't we have that in Nigeria? Why don't we have that same collection society that does that online?
Our laws have not developed to that extent, like in the US, where you have the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, that provides for all these things you just said, even take down procedures when you take things down from online sites and the rest. Our Copyright Act is still old. The last amendment to it was 1999. So all these issues are not contemplated under the Act. Though we have an amendment, a bill before the National Assembly, where a bill that seeks to amend the Copyright Act, and these issues that you mentioned, the takedown procedure and the rest of them, are in that bill. But that bill has been pending, I'll tell you, I think since 2015. It has been going from one house to the other. Until we have such, we'll still be managing the one we have and use it as much as we can to fight infringement.
Okay. Thank you so much, Christian. So if you are here and you want to ask a question to Christian, if you have one or two questions to ask, kindly step on and, you know, have the mic and ask your question. So we are discussing the copyright and the creative. Now, Christian, before we have any person that will come on board to ask question, what exactly is your advice to up and coming artists who wants to pen that contract? Before they pen that contract, what exactly are you telling the person to do first of all?
Simple. Just have a lawyer review the contract for you, right? There are terms you may not be able to change because the record label is because such contracts are usually not usually contracts between unequal parties. There are terms I know you may not be able to change, but there are terms you can negotiate. Sign you and say, oh, you remain here for 5 years, 6 years of them, but you can reduce those terms to like maybe 2 years, so that your slavery in quote won't last for too long, right? And then when it comes to the issue of assignment, some will just say you hereby agree to assign. Assign is just like you're selling your right, just like selling your land to another person, and you don't have any right to go back to the land. But when it's licensing, you're giving the person permission to use, and you will still have a reversionary interest, like you still have a right to use that thing. So when it comes to assignment, you know what you are assigning. Are you assigning the entirety of your rights for how much? Some will assign the right for a lump sum of money, a one-off pay. without making any reservation for maybe royalties or commission thereafter. You understand? Because you have multiple sources of income. It's not just the tape you are selling. You can go for performance on stage, you can go for event and the rest of them. Don't be surprisingly, some sign out all those rights. Like every income you get from your performance, from selling of the CD, from YouTube monetization, from everything, they assign everything to the label. So just have a lawyer review your agreement and if at least to explain the import of some of those clauses to you
in layman's understanding. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So now the question I would like to ask is that when your intellectual property is being infringed upon, what is the best or better way to go about it as an artist in order to retrieve your intellectual property back? What is the best approach to this?
Okay. So first it will depend on the IP rights. It will depend on the medium where the infringement occurred, and then so if it's just like a song and somebody is using it, you can demand payment. You can go to court. You can do out of court settlement. Let me use Casey as an example. When Sajudu now wanted to sue, he sent a demand letter first. Cease and desist this thing you are doing. Don't release this song, this and that and that and that. He went ahead and released it, and Judu Nam now went to court, right? So there are so many mechanisms. When it comes to copyright, the NCC is even there. In fact, in all the types of intellectual property, it's only copyright that even the government will even help you to enforce your rights. The NCC is there. They do raids some of the time. They prosecute people on their own. So even if for example, you don't want to take a civil action against the person and you think you can leave it for the NCC, then they will prosecute the person in a criminal action, which will end up in imprisonment term or in fine. So there are enforcement mechanisms depending on the right that is being infringed and where it is happening. If like let's say YouTube and somebody is uploading your song in a channel or whatever that is not yours, they have their procedures where you can request a takedown, show a proof of the rest of the thing, and it's gone. Just the same way, if you see somebody infringing your trademark or something on an e-commerce channel on Jumia or the Konga and the rest of, there are procedures you will take to get them to pull it down or to remove it.
Thank you so much, Christian, for that insight. And I think we have from this end, I've actually exhausted all the questions. And if you have any question to ask, if you have anything to contribute, any further contribution, kindly request for Mike so we can make the contribution and wrap it up for today. We've really had a very important conversation. We've been able to extract very much important answers from Christian. And Books, do you have any question for Christian?
Yeah, I don't know if he's been, let me just ask the question. When it comes to Nigerian artists, signed to Nigerian labels, what percentage of them do you think, sign their ownership to the label? I mean, of their art, their music or whatever. Do they sign it totally to the label, or do they keep a certain kind of percentage of the money that comes in through that?
Sorry, I didn't get the last aspect of your question.
Okay. Let me simplify it. I'm saying, like, when the typical Nigerian artist who is signed to a Nigerian label is signing the deal, does he give away his rights to the label, or do they try to keep it? That his right to ownership of his artwork.
Even performers, actors and actresses that act movies these days, especially the big guys these days, they don't just take a lump sum and go. Some of them still have in their agreement clauses that say, oh, if this movie makes it to Netflix and will make so amount of money, I will still get this percentage or this commission, notwithstanding the initial payment. Though there are clauses like that. So these are things the young artists should also always look out for. You get a lump sum payment, you assign your rights if you want, you license it if you want, but ensure that you are getting a fair payment for whatever it has been assigned or agreed upon.
All right. Any books? Are you satisfied with that answer?
I know what I was trying to say, but I have an actual question. And it's about royalties. How do you think that will ever happen in the Nigerian music industry? Like getting your royalties on radio plays and all these things. How?
Yeah, people do get royalties. Like I've mentioned it, it's common over here. Like people get royalties. Get royalties from radio stations. When it comes to radio stations and what's it called, TV station, I know sometimes it's the artists themselves that do give their songs to radio stations to play, especially when it's young artists or a new song that you're not even sure of how it's going to perform in the market, right? But aside those ones, radio stations, when they play your songs and the rest of them, they pay royalties, and that's the essence of the collecting society. You can do it on your own, yes, and as an artist, you can. If they don't pay you, you sue them. If you go through the cases, there are cases where people have been able to get 700 million, 300 million, 100 million, 30 million as, payment, as damages for all this kind of infringement, right? If you know you cannot enforce it personally, which of course is not even advisable, because you can't reach out, you can't get the entire Nigeria and get them to pay royalties. You register your rights with collecting societies. They know how to do it. It's not possible for them to get everybody. That's what I must admit to, but they can get it more than if you are doing it alone. They get royalties from radio stations, from TV stations, and the rest. But of course, there is also a backlash when it comes. For example, do you know that even churches are supposed to pay royalties for using any maybe Christian songs in church? But people will now tell you, if you start attacking church, what will people now say? This and that. And these are the issues. When you attack a radio station, the radio station will say, okay, we'll never play your song again, or we'll never play, all this kind of thing. I know that these are all considerations that they make, but in principle, yes, you can get your royalties from anybody that is using your song or playing your song or performing it or whatever. If you can't do it alone, if you can't enforce that your rights by yourself, you engage the collecting society, they will do it for you. They'll do it for you.
All right. Thank you for that explanation on the question. So you have clearly explained that it is not a government-owned sector, institution, or organization. It's usually licensed by the government to operate as just like you rightly stated. Yes. So Aniukwu, I'm sure that is clear enough. Do you have further question?
Yes, it is. The next one was on some possibility of easily dictating what is it called, where a song is being played. Because I recall speaking with a manager, and he was telling me that he wishes that in the future that there's some form of technology that can dictate wherever my song is being played in some way. Do you think there is a possibility of that in the tech world?
There is a possibility because it is already happening somewhere. I remember in my office one time we hosted some entertainers, managers, lawyers from all these big entertainment companies, and it showed us like a display of gave a display of how it works abroad. They have the technology. Even if your song is being played in a church, in a mosque, anywhere, they know it's being recorded. They know how many times, they know the length, they know everything. So by the end of the month or the week, depending, you simply send in your royalties. We don't have that technology yet in Nigeria. They do it manually. They, go to places they know that you are using this song, or they hear it over the radio, and then they come after you and the rest of them. But for me, since the technology is already there somewhere, with time it can come down to Nigeria. And I believe if any of these collecting societies really, want to push their business forward, they are the ones, they are not government, so it's a business enterprise. They are the ones that will push for all these technologies and get them and know how. I know it won't be easy because of course we have our own issues when it comes to deployment of technology, but it's possible. It's already happening somewhere, so it can also happen in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. That answers it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So we just have Chris who stepped on the stage to. I'm sure, Chris, you have a question or contribution to make.
No, good evening, everybody. I wanted to respond to what Ahmed was asking. I thought maybe Christian wasn't getting the question right. Understanding his question, and yes, Christian answered you very well. You can actually like, I don't know if you use Microsoft Word or PDF. Like, you can create a document in PDF, and you will actually, like, the way you lock it down so that nobody can edit it, and at the same time track who is using your PDF and stuff like that. So yeah, like he said, this technology exists. Tech wise, you can do everything, right? And you can even make a song you can create a song. Like, they can actually make a format of a song that cannot play unless there is a form of connection to the World Wide Web, right? To be able to track it properly, or maybe via Bluetooth or any other tech. Or they can actually do it the way where you can, even if you're playing it and you don't have, say, internet, whenever that device connects to the internet, you to actually extract all the information, like how many times that song has been played in that device. So yeah, these things exist. They are there. It's just that the Nigeria is a place where when these people look around and then they see, oh, this is going to threaten our the luxury that we enjoy, they will kick against it, right? Like I've always said, these people, what they do is that whenever people bring ideas and safeguards to put in the system, they will kick against it. But they forget that it isn't. These things are not meant for them. They are meant for, maybe when they leave office, right? So that for the people that are going to come in, you don't know what their actions are going to be. So you need to have that safeguard to protect them. But technology is a thing that threatens tyrants, or wherever you go and you have people with tyrannical intentions, right? So because they cannot control it, they don't have control over it. Because you can post some kind of protest stuff in anywhere and they cannot even bring it down. So that part is one of the things that threatens them. Like, you can record a song that is against them, and because they know they can shut it down if you don't have access to this text. So they make it hard for you to actually make it that goes far, because these kinds of texts, they are good for you as an artist. They are also good for the economy, but it threatens their own ability to curtail your own growth, or say the way you manage this, and they want to be able to manage it. So that is actually what is happening, right? So yeah, that technology, it does exist, like Christian said, because you can know. You should also know that when you are watching a television, they actually know how many people are connected to that television. Be it via I don't know, the one we used to have analog. When you go leave the shores of Nigeria, they know how many people are connected. They know the shares that the amount of people that are watching that television at that moment. That's how they come to know what is prime time and all this, and all those jargons that you hear people in the entertainment industry throw around, right? So yeah, they exist. I just want to explain the tech part, so
Thank you, Chris, for that. Thank you for that explanation. Yeah, it does exist. I remember where they usually calculates the number of views on a particular program, the number of listeners on a particular program. You're able to gather. That's how they get to know when a song gets to up. It gets a platinum, gold, or silver, whatever. Plaque, precisely. So they have a technology that monitors this, but it does not exist in Nigeria. But then the point we are actually looking at is how the young artists, up and coming artists, how they are going to be protected, what they need to know, before they delve into the industry, so that they will not be exploited or will not regret their action. So these are the things that we are looking at, and we've listened to the lawyer, Christian, who gave us a very detailed background on this. And of course, we have also asked a couple of questions. Some of us have asked questions on things that we need to know more. I believe we have really learned so much. I myself have learned so much. I don't know about you. If you are just joining us, please do go and check this out when it comes out, later in the day, on Aniukwu. Just go and check it, Aniukwu, on every platform. It's on Spotify, it's on Audiomack, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere. You can check them out, follow the page, and of course, support what they are doing. They're promoting entertainment and creative industry from the Southeast perspective, and we are looking at possible ways of growing and nurturing the industry within the Southeast. I thank you everyone for joining us and contributing and making their mark, their opinion heard, and contributing one way or the other to make this a very successful one. We'll do this some other times, and we'll have to continue to preach the gospel till it yields the right fruits. And from here, I'll bring Aniukwu to come and give us a vote of thanks, and so that we call it a day.
Thank you everybody for joining us once again. Like Uche mentioned, we try our best to make these conversations available on all music platforms so that you can share it with your friends and other creatives. Thank you to Christian for being resourceful tonight. We intend to make our conversations with Christian a series. So please expect to be seeing more of him here on this space, and we hope his schedule would also allow him. Before we leave, Christian, any final words? I thought I should ask you that. Do you have any final words?
Just to say thank you for having me, and thank you for the conversations, the contributions, and it's been a happy evening. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you very much. From Aniukwu, please do follow us and tell people about us. From Aniukwu, it is good night for now.
Good night, everyone.